Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a significant development in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, a new underwater bomb attack on the Crimean or Kerch Bridge. This is yet another bold strike by Kyiv, and in this video we'll go through what is publicly known, what's being claimed by both sides, and what this could mean strategically. Let's break it down. So the story begins in the early hours of June 3rd, 2025, when Ukraine's security service, SBU, announced that it had carried out a covert underwater demolition targeting the support structures of the Crimea Bridge. They claim that over several months, agents managed to place explosive charges on the underwater pillars of the bridge. The first detonation was set off at exactly 4:44 a.m. local time. According to the SBU, the explosive yield was around 1,100 kilograms of TNT equivalent. The agency claims that the blast severely damaged the underwater foundations of one of the bridge supports. Importantly, the SBU emphasizes there were no civilian casualties in this operation. From Kyiv's perspective, the bridge is a legitimate military target. The rationale is that the structure serves as a critical logistics artery for Russian forces, and damaging or disabling it would disrupt supply chains into occupied Crimea and the southern front lines. Ukrainians also stress the symbolism. The bridge itself is an emblem of Russia's claim over Crimea, and striking it sends both a physical and psychological message. The SBU noted that this is the third time the bridge has been attacked since the full-scale invasion began in 2022. Previous attacks in 2022 and 2023 targeted the roadbed and used surface explosives or naval drones. On the Russian side, the response is more cautious. The Kremlin confirmed that explosions occurred, but quickly downplayed the scale of damage. They claimed that the bridge remains fully functional and dismissed reports of structural compromise. The operator of the bridge announced that traffic was halted for about 3 to 4 hours in the early morning light, from around 4 a.m. until about 7 a.m., but then resumed operations. Some Russian media also reported that a Ukrainian drone was intercepted near the bridge, and debris might have fallen onto the roadway. Russian commentators and bloggers, meanwhile, have questioned whether the strike was truly effective, pointing to uncertainty in damage assessment and raising the possibility that it was carried out via an underwater drone or naval device. So where does this leave us? Let's look at a few key angles: technical feasibility, impact, risks, and implications. First, technically, planting explosives underwater on bridge pilings in a war zone is extremely challenging. It requires stealthy insertion, underwater operations, probably using divers or underwater vehicles, precise timing, and careful reconnaissance. That the SBU claims to have done this over months suggests high-level planning and intelligence gathering. The fact that it was reportedly coordinated personally by SBU Chief Vasyl Maluk underscores the importance Ukraine placed on this mission. One question is whether the attackers used a novel underwater drone, unmanned underwater vehicle, rather than human divers. Some speculative commentary has indeed pointed to the possibility of a drone named Marichka or similar, though official confirmation is lacking. On impact, if the underwater supports are genuinely compromised, it might not immediately collapse the bridge, but it could weaken its long-term integrity. Repairing underwater structural damage is far harder than patching surface damage. That means even if the bridge continues to function today, its vulnerability has increased, and future attacks might have greater effect. Disruption to traffic was already reported, even if temporarily. That alone can delay military logistics, especially in fast-moving conflict zones. Strategically, Ukraine seems intent on squeezing Russian supply chains, forcing Moscow to divert resources to protect, monitor, and repair its infrastructure. Symbolically, striking such a high-profile target challenges Russian narratives of control and invulnerability. However, risks are significant. If Russia's assessment is correct and no major structural damage occurred, then Ukraine expended considerable resources only for modest tactical gain. Also, if civilians or non-combatants had been harmed, that would invite international backlash, though the SBU asserts there were no civilian casualties. Another risk is countermeasures. After an attack like this, Russia is likely to intensify surveillance, anti-drone and anti-diver defenses, acoustic sensors, sonar, and underwater security around critical assets. That makes repeat attacks harder over time. In terms of broader implications, this operation aligns with a recent trend of Ukraine conducting bold, high-impact strikes beyond the front lines. Just days before, Ukrainian drone operations struck Russian strategic bomber air bases deep inside Russian territory, reportedly damaging a significant portion of their long-range bomber fleet. The bridge strike adds pressure on Moscow across multiple fronts: air, land, and now underwater. It sends a message not just about capability, but about reach and intent. Politically, this may shift or reinforce perceptions among international observers. Nations supporting Ukraine may see this as evidence of growing Ukrainian asymmetric capabilities and determination. Some may worry about escalation. Underwater sabotage is less conventional than drone or missile strikes and could provoke Russia to respond in kind or with harsh retaliation. Within Russia, public messaging already emphasizes denial or minimal damage. This helps manage domestic perception, but also hints at vulnerability. From a battlefield perspective, if Russia is forced to reroute supplies, increase security on transit corridors, or repair damaged infrastructure, that diverts manpower, time, materials, and focus away from frontline operations. Over time, that attritional effect could weigh heavily. For Ukraine, even limited success in degrading enemy logistics is strategically valuable in a war of attrition. Looking ahead, a few possibilities stand out. Russia may downplay or shield damage reports, but third-party satellite or independent verifications may emerge showing fissures, cracks, or underwater damage. Ukraine could attempt follow-on strikes, perhaps targeting piers more aggressively, or coupling underwater attacks with missile or drone strikes for synergy. Russia, in turn, may up its underwater defenses, shore-based countermeasures, and intelligence operations to detect and neutralize similar threats. Each such escalation raises the danger of miscalculation or intensification of hostilities. It's worth also watching how this plays in narratives. In Russian propaganda, the attack will likely be portrayed as a terrorist act against civilian infrastructure, even though its stated aim is military. In Ukrainian and Western media, it will likely be framed as a daring sabotage mission striking a symbol of occupation and logistic lifeline. How neutral observers interpret it will shape diplomatic responses and support. In the end, the key takeaway is that this underwater strike represents a new chapter in the conflict's tactical evolution. The battlefield is expanding not only across land and air, but beneath the waves. Ukraine is pushing the envelope on asymmetric warfare, leveraging intelligence, stealth, and careful planning to hit high-value targets that were once considered too protected or out of reach. Whether this attack will have a decisive effect remains to be seen. The math of war is harsh. Even small disruptions, when replicated, can shift momentum. If Russia's internal assessments show real structural compromise, then Ukraine may have scored more than just a propaganda point. If not, Russia may come out relatively unscathed, at least in the short term. Either way, the psychological and logistical ripples are real. Thank you for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think the real damage was? And subscribe for more analysis on the war in Ukraine and related developments. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.